All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for real people just like you, just like me. So, I talked to people that really like the band Kansas. I've got a few friends and acquaintances who've seen the band numerous times. I've seen them twice, so I can't, say that I'm not into Kansas. I was looking forward to the new Kansas album. I listened to it. I like it. It might grow on me more. But I want to talk about how another band actually won the Battle of Kansas. Okay, to kind of put it into terms that maybe will grab your attention. I'm talking about this group called Pinnacle Point. I've been talking about them since 2017, and a few people have discovered them via my channel. And they've gone on to basically order or purchase copies of the records. They've got 2 albums out now. Their brand new record, Symphony of Mind. Symphony of Mind kind of flows off the tongue a little better than The Absence of Presence or The Prelude Implicit. Not that those are bad titles. It's just that the word salad tends to be a little less memorable. Symphony of Mind, I think, refers to Kerry Livgren's brain, to be honest with you. I think that's the reference that they're making here. His musical mind, how he was composing a symphony. And he always was. And the fact that these guys made an effort, Jerome Mazza and his fellow musicians made an effort to really capture the spirit of the classic sound of Kansas is a testimony, really, to how good this record is. When you hear it, it's not just, hey, this sounds a bit like Kansas. No, this is Kansas, but it kind of moves the ball downfield. It's like a new generation of Kansas-like music. And there seems to be more representation, too, on this record as far as the entire career span of Kansas. In other words, you might find yourself in the 1970s a little bit, in the 1980s to some degree. You might hear a more straightforward rock song, or you might find yourself listening to a very symphonic piece, more progressive and so forth. And that's what Pinnacle Point is all about. One thing I do want to say, which might sound controversial, but vocals really matter. Vocals matter a lot. Songwriting and material, you can get together and you can brainstorm about how you want to sound like Kansas and how you can use this chord over here where Kansas used a different chord over there, and you can compose a song that goes right along the same trajectory but has little nuances and differences. This, to me, does everything. It does everything. It's as if you were listening to Kansas and they decided to call it quits with Steve Walsh in, 1980? Okay, and then John Elefante would join, but Walsh said, I'm done with this. He came back in, 85 or 86, and kind of regrouped the thing and got the name and went back out there and put together a couple of really great albums for MCA Records. But needless to say, this album here contains like a great mixture of all those things. But vocals really are important. And this review here, done by a magazine called Danger Dog, online. I don't know if it's a magazine, but it's a site. Jerome Mazza. So, let's talk about Jerome Mazza. The Kansas inference and influence is undeniable. 1, Jerome Mazza sounds a great deal like Steve Walsh. Now, in my book, when someone says that so-and-so sounds like Steve Walsh, it's similar in the sense of saying, hey, this guy sounds like Lou Gramm, this guy sounds like Steve Perry, this guy sounds like Jimmy Jamison, and you can go down the list of amazing vocalists. These are mostly tenor vocalists or guys with rich vocals who can kind of do the entire top to bottom scale. And Steve Walsh was one of a kind. And immediately comparing Jerome Mazza to Steve Walsh is like saying, hey, the guys in your symphony, man, they compose just like Mozart. You know, it's that, I mean, maybe that's a little extreme. But if you're going to compare, he kind of sounds like Steve Walsh, or he's trying to sound, no, Jerome Mazza sounds like Steve Walsh. In fact, someone talked about Born in Fire, I think, not Born of Fire, which is from the album Black Butterfly, which had Mazza and Walsh doing a duet, and you couldn't really tell, or you had trouble telling where Walsh stopped singing and Mazza started to sing. They did this clever thing where they had each of them singing a part, and it worked wonders. They talk about the violins on this record, reminiscent of Robbie Steinhardt. Wow, that's a big deal. Maybe not as big as the comparison to Steve Walsh. And Ev Olsen is a wizard on guitar. He is. He's amazing. The keyboards, all the different keyboard sounds. There's like a Keith Emerson thing going on here and there. Seriously. Anyway, this is an amazing album, and quite honestly, it wins the war. The battle for Kansas, Pinnacle Point wins the war. And not that there's an overt war, but honestly, it comes down to vocals and songwriting. And I would put vocals at the top and then songwriting below that. But you can't have one without the other, but you really can't have anything if you don't have a convincing vocalist who can pull it off. And that's what makes Pinnacle Point's Symphony of Mind my favorite melodic rock album of 2020 thus far, and also, not only that, the winner in the Battle of Kansas. It's definitely going to be Pinnacle Point. All right, I hope that was interesting. If you want to check this review out in full, dangerdog.com. There's also a review of Pinnacle Point on my blog as well. Not quite as well written as this piece, but still written, and you can maybe glean some things from that. And then go out and buy the album. Go over to Escape Music and buy a copy of Symphony of Mind. Get the CD. Get a physical copy of this so you can have it in your library. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching. See you soon.